And when they had sung a hymn, they went out unto the Mount of Olives. Then saith Jesus unto them, All ye shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. But after all, I am raised up again. I will go before you into Galilee. Peter answered and said unto him, Though all men shall be offended because of thee, yet will I never be offended. Jesus said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, that this night before the cock crows thou shalt deny me thrice. Peter said unto him, Though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise also said all the disciples. Then cometh Jesus with them into the place called Gethsemane, and saith unto the disciples, Sit here while I go and pray yonder. And he took with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very depressed. Then said he unto them, My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry here, and watch with me. And he went a little further, and fell on his face, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. As we move into the Lenten season, let me only share briefly in regards to Ash Wednesday and Lent. Ash Wednesday was introduced by the early church. They felt the church needed to begin to think about the direction that the church was going. And you find nothing in the Bible in regards to that we ought to observe it or not, but it has some significance. Then in regards to Lent, again, was an arbitrary thing that the early church felt of necessity. There was a time for penitence to be done. And so they wondered where they should put this. And so they put Ash Wednesday in its place. And then they said 40 days from Easter, if you will move back and count 40 days, then that's where we will begin the Lenten season, except that we'll take Sundays out. So if you're beginning to count, they don't count the Sundays for those 40 days. But it is a time of taking inventory, a time of looking at our innermost being and saying, what is my walk like? And what was Jesus' walk like? And so I will be sharing a series of messages as we move along the Lenten season. Today I've entitled it The Moonlit Trail. Go with me for a moment to the upper room. Jesus had asked the disciples to prepare a place. For the Jewish people took the Passover, which was of such great importance and within tradition. And Jesus too was going to hold on to that tradition. And tradition has great value at times. And this was a time when they would remember when they were in Egypt under slavery. They would remember the bitter times, and they were told to make more bricks, and yet were given less material to do it with. They also remembered the plagues that went on. And within that Passover feast, they had a regular kind of meal, and then they began to observe this. They had the lamb, which would be significant, for they remember when the firstborn of the Egyptians all died. And because they had put blood upon their doorposts, their firstborn were kept free. They also remembered that as they were in the wilderness, that they had manna, and they had manna, and they had manna. Not for one day, not for two. And don't you men love to have the same thing 2 days in a row when your wife has cooked too much and you have leftovers? And at least you're with me yet. Some of you. And here, they were telling their children, we cried to God, we were sometimes rebellious to God, we were stiff-necked at times, we were unhappy with our leader at times because we didn't have enough water. This was all being discussed within their meal time. They also remembered how God had led them through the Red Sea. And that has all gone on in this upper room with his 12 disciples. And after having discussed these things and life itself, what it meant to them, and having taken the Passover down, he draws out the cup and the bread, which we have just celebrated, and shared that with them. And I am sure about when that moment the cup has been given, Judas decides to leave. And as Judas decides to leave, there must have been a sense of shudder. And Jesus says to him, what you're going to do quickly. And he leaves. There had been discussion around that table who would be the greatest. And there was Peter who said, I'll never deny you, Lord. I'll never deny you. And Jesus said, yes, you will. You'll do it. Once they have completed that discussion of the upper room and what was transpiring, Jesus then, I think in those last words, he must have said, let not your heart be troubled. Don't let your heart be troubled. Peace I leave with you. The world will give you tribulation. It will tempt you. It will try you in every way. But I have overcome the world. And the disciples must have thought for a moment. I think the room must have become ominously quiet. There must have been silence. And they must have looked at each other. And somehow in their heart I can hear them say, Jesus, what are you saying? What are you saying? That don't let our hearts be troubled. We've seen them blaspheme you. We have seen them try to destroy you. They have tried to throw you out of the city, and they think you're a rebel, and we know you aren't a rebel. I don't think a word was said. And then Jesus gets up. And they sing a song. And I don't know if they sang one of the penitential psalms that maybe has a little meaning to you someday. I might share you about the penitential psalms. But there are a goodly number, if I recall correctly, there are 8 or 9 of those. Must have sang that because they were put in song later on. And today I think I would sing the song with Jesus. Jesus, must I bear the cross alone and all the world go free? No, there is a cross for me to bear, and I'll be willing to bear it. As you think about